start of the year. We are also witnessing a proliferation of agentic AI across various industries and tasks. Companies such as Cursor, Anthropic, Open Evidence, Epic, and Abridge are experiencing a surge in user growth as they supercharge the existing workforce, delivering unquestionable ROI for coders and
Are
healthcare
they, though?
professionals.
I know that to be a
The
lie.
world's most important enterprise software platforms like ServiceNow, CrowdStrike, and SAP are integrating NVIDIA's accelerated computing and AI stack. Our new partner, Palantir, is
Oh
supercharging
no.
the incredibly popular ontology platform with NVIDIA CUDA-X libraries and AI models for the first time. Previously, like most enterprise software platforms, ontology runs only on CPUs. Lowe's is leveraging the platform to build supply chain agility, reducing costs and improving customer satisfaction. Enterprises broadly are leveraging AI to boost productivity, increase efficiency, and reduce cost. RBC is leveraging agentic AI to drive significant analyst productivity, slashing report generation time from hours
Hey,
to
it's Ant.
minutes. AI and digital twins are helping Unilever accelerate content creation by 2x and cut costs by 50%. And Salesforce's engineering team has seen at least 30% productivity increase in new code development after adopting Cursor. This past quarter, we announced AI factory and infrastructure projects amounting to an aggregate of 5 million GPUs. This demand spans every market: CSPs, sovereigns, model builders, enterprises, and supercomputing centers, and includes multiple landmark buildouts. xAI's Colossus 2, the world's first gigawatt-scale data center. Lilly's AI factory for drug discovery, the pharmaceutical industry's most powerful data center. And just today, AWS and Humane expanded their partnership, including the deployment of up to 150,000 AI accelerators, including our GB300. xAI and Humane also announced a partnership in which the two will jointly develop a network of world-class GPU data centers anchored by the flagship 500 megawatt facility.
So we're listening to the NVIDIA earnings call, by the way. That's
the GB300 crossed
required
over GB200 and
learning
contributed
right now.
roughly 2/3 of the total Blackwell revenue. The transition to GB300 has been seamless, with production shipments to the major cloud service providers, hyperscalers, and GP clouds, and is already driving their growth. The Hopper platform, in its 13th quarter since inception, recorded approximately $2 billion in revenue in Q3. H20 sales were approximately $50 million. Sizable purchase orders never materialized.
Oh, Yogi's live again?
Due to geopolitical issues.
He's still eat pre-gaming? Oh no.
While we were disappointed in the current state that prevents us from shipping more competitive data center compute products to China, we are committed to continued engagement with the U.S. and China governments.
Well, after the earnings call,
for America's ability to compete around the world.
Yeah, I didn't realize he woke up.
To establish a sustainable leadership position in AI computing,
he refuses.
America must win the support of every developer
this
and
is
be
all
the platform of choice for every commercial business, including those in China.
This is all such silly.
The Rubin platform
Can I just take a piece out of this because there's no
in the
point?
second half of 2026. Powered by 7 chips, the Vera Rubin platform will once again deliver an X-factor improvement in performance relative to
we need like space parts.
We have received silicon back from our supply chain partners and are happy to report that NVIDIA teams across the world are executing the bring up beautifully. Rubin is our 3rd generation rack scale system, substantially redefined the manufacturability while remaining compatible
Where?
Grace Blackwell. Our supply
I'm-
chain, data center, ecosystem, and cloud partners have now mastered
I don't
the
really
build
care
to
about that.
installation process
Do we need
of
to, like-
NVIDIA's rack architecture. Our ecosystem will be ready for a fast Rubin ramp. Our annual X Factor performance leap increases performance per dollar while driving down computing costs for our customers. The long useful life of NVIDIA's CUDA GPUs is a significant TCO advantage over accelerators. CUDA's compatibility and our massive installed base extend the life of NVIDIA systems well beyond their original estimated useful life. For more than 2 decades, we have optimized the CUDA ecosystem, improving existing workloads, accelerating new ones,
Well, it seems to
and
be a double
increasing
track,
throughput
right?
with every software release. Most accelerators without CUDA and NVIDIA's time-tested and versatile architecture became obsolete within a few years as model technologies evolved. Thanks to CUDA, the A100 GPUs we shipped 6 years ago are still running at full utilization today, powered by vastly improved software stack. We have evolved over the past 25 years from a gaming GPU company to now an AI data center infrastructure company. Our ability to innovate
They don't make
across the
gaming
CPU,
deep
the
GPUs
GPU,
anymore.
networking, and software, and ultimately drive down cost per token is unmatched across the industry. Our networking business, purpose-built for AI, and now the largest in the world, generated revenue of $8.2 billion, up 162% year over year, with NVLink, InfiniBand, and Spectrum-X Ethernet all contributing to growth. We are winning in data center networking as the majority of AI deployments now include our switches with Ethernet GPU attach rates roughly on par with InfiniBand. Meta, Microsoft, Oracle, and xAI are building gigawatt AI factories with Spectrum-X Ethernet switches, and each will run its operating system of choice, highlighting the flexibility and openness of our platform. We recently introduced Spectrum XGS, a scale-across technology that enables gigascale AI factories.
So this is going
NVIDIA is the
which
only
way?
company with AI scale up, scale out, and scale across platforms, reinforcing our unique position in the market as the AI infrastructure provider. Customer interest in NVLink Fusion continues to grow. We announced a strategic collaboration with Fujitsu in October, where we will integrate Fujitsu's CPUs and NVIDIA GPUs via NVLink Fusion, connecting
Oops,
our large
these go
ecosystems.
to the
We
right.
also announced a collaboration with
So
Intel to develop multiple generations of custom data center
it's gonna be
and PC
going this way. I
products,
think I need a
connecting
connection the whole
NVIDIA
way, right?
and Intel's ecosystems using NVLink. This week at Supercomputing
Oh,
25,
one
ARM announced that it will
second.
be integrating NVLink IP for customers to build CPU SoCs that connect with NVIDIA. Currently on its 5th generation, NVLink is the only proven scale-up technology available on the market today.
It's not allowed to link.
In the latest MLPerf training results, Blackwell Ultra delivered 5x faster
So
time
bad.
to train than Hopper. NVIDIA swept every benchmark. Notably, NVIDIA is the only training platform to leverage FP4 while meeting the MLPerf's
Okay, those
strict
connect.
accuracy standards.
Let me connect
In
this and then we'll talk.
semi-analysis Inference Max benchmark, Blackwell achieved the highest performance and lowest total cost of ownership across every model and use case. Particularly
connections
important
this
is
way.
Blackwell's NVLink's
In,
performance on a
in,
mixture of
in.
experts, the architecture for the world's most popular reasoning models. On DeepSeek R1, Blackwell delivered 10x higher performance per watt and 10x lower cost per token versus H200, a huge generational leap fueled by our extreme co-design approach. NVIDIA Dynamo,
I made a
An
mess of
open
this.
source,
This is just
low
bad.
latency modular inference framework has now been adopted by every major cloud service provider, leveraging Dynamo's enablement
Problem solved.
and disaggregated inference, the resulting increase.
So you'll notice, do you see how there's like different colors
such
here?
as MOE
When I
models,
place this one,
AWS, Google Cloud,
makes another
Microsoft
color.
Azure,
But that's
and
showing you
OCI
all of the
have
different
boosted
available
AI
blocks.
inference
Okay, so
performance
it's showing
for
you
enterprise
blocks.
cloud customers. We are working on a strategic partnership with OpenAI, focused on
The
helping
specific
them
color
build
does not
and
matter.
deploy at
It's
least
showing
10
you a block.
gigawatts of AI data centers. In addition, we have the opportunity to invest in the company. We serve OpenAI through their cloud partners, Microsoft Azure,
Now what needs to happen
OCI,
here,
and Huawei. We will continue to do so for the
this needs to
foreseeable
connect
future.
to the whole.
As
all
they
of
continue to
this.
scale, we are delighted to support the company to add self-build infrastructure, and we are working toward a definitive agreement and are excited to support OpenAI's growth. Yesterday, we celebrated an announcement with Anthropic. For the first time, Anthropic is adopting NVIDIA, and we are establishing a deep technology partnership to support Anthropic's
Are we?
fast growth. We will collaborate to optimize Anthropic models for CUDA and deliver the best possible performance, efficiency, and TCO.
I mean, all I hear in this so
We will
far is
also
that we're going to make
optimize
sure that we
future
maximize
NVIDIA architectures for Anthropic workloads.
the amount of
Anthropic's compute commitment is initially including up to 1 gigawatt.
You haven't
of
seen what
compute
we've done, have
capacity
you?
With
You
Grace
haven't seen
Blackwell
this.
and Vera Rubin systems.
Do you see this? There are
Our
currently
strategic investments in
74
Anthropic, Mistral,
trains
OpenAI, Reflection, Thinking Machines, and other represent
on this planet.
partnerships that grow the NVIDIA CUDA AI ecosystem
This is
and
the.
enable
You
every
just sit and watch
model
the trains go,
to
man.
run optimally on NVIDIA's everywhere. We will continue to invest strategically.
The
while
networks are all
preserving our
wired.
disciplined approach.
What is happening?
cash
Stop
flow
blowing
management.
up things. Oh, is that a
Physical
problem I
AI
have to actually
is
solve?
already a multi-billion
We need to make
dollar
guns.
business addressing a multi-trillion
If
dollar
I could make
opportunity
artillery and
the
stuff
next
and just
leg of growth for
remove the
NVIDIA.
alien threat on this entire
Leading US
planet already.
manufacturers and robotics
Like,
innovators
what do I need to do
are
with
leveraging
tungsten? We need
NVIDIA's
tungsten to do
free
this?
computer architecture to
Lord.
train on NVIDIA, test on Omniverse computer, and deploy real-world AI on Jetson robotic computers. PTC and Siemens introduced new services that bring Omniverse-powered
Why use
digital
laser
twin
turrets when we could
to
just
their
use?
extensive installed base of customers.
Oh, Lord.
Companies including Belden,
What goes into
Caterpillar,
carbon fiber
Foxconn,
anyway?
Lucid
Where's
Motors,
the little
Toyota,
factual
TSMC, and Wistron are
Yeah.
building Omniverse digital twin factories to accelerate AI-driven manufacturing and automation. Agility Robotics, Amazon
How hard is
Robotics,
this to make?
Figure, and Skilled
Oh no.
at
No,
AI
no,
are
no.
building our platform, tapping offerings such as NVIDIA Cosmos, World Foundation models for
Can this
development,
only be used on this
Omniverse
planet?
for simulation and
All right.
validation, and Jetson to power next-generation intelligent robots. We remain focused on building resiliency and redundancy in our global supply chain. Last month, in partnership with TSMC, we celebrated the first Blackwell wafer produced on U.S. soil. We will continue to work with Foxconn, Wistron, Amkor, Spill, and others to grow our presence in the U.S. over the next 4 years.
I didn't build one.
Gaming revenue was $4.3 billion,
I don't build the
up
vehicles.
30% year-on-year, driven by strong
They're too
demand.
annoying. I just use
Blackwell
trains.
momentum
Get everywhere.
continued. End market sell-through remains robust, and channel inventories are at normal levels heading into the holiday season. Steam recently broke its concurrent user record with 42 million gamers, while thousands of fans packed the GeForce Gamer Festival in
How
South
hard would
Korea
it be
to
for us to
celebrate
get
25
tungsten?
years
How much
of
tungsten
GeForce.
is just available?
NVIDIA Pro Visualization has evolved into computers for engineers and developers, whether for graphics or for AI. Professional visualization revenue
It's
was
full? What's happening?
$760 million, up 56% year over year.
We're done.
Was
We're done
another
moving things.
record. Growth was driven by DGX Spark, the world's smallest AI supercomputer, built on a small
Where's
configuration
it Vulcanus?
of Grace
It's
Blackwell.
tungsten. Vulcan.
Automotive revenue was $592 million, up
Oh my God.
32%
So much
year
stuff.
over year,
Oh, I don't have a
primarily
radar
driven
here.
by self-driving solutions. We are partnering with Uber to scale the world's largest
One's
Level 4
tungsten.
ready autonomous fleet.
Yep.
Built on the new NVIDIA Hyperion L4
So
robotaxi
tungsten needs to make its
reference
way here.
architecture. Moving to the rest of the P&L. GAAP gross margins were 73.4% and non-GAAP gross margins was 73.6%, exceeding our outlook. Gross margins increased sequentially due to our data center mix, improved cycle time, and cost structure. GAAP operating expenses were up 8% sequentially and up 11% on non-GAAP basis. The growth was driven by infrastructure compute, as well as higher compensation and benefits and engineering development costs. Non-GAAP effective tax rate for the third quarter was just over 17%, higher than our guidance of 16.5% due to the strong U.S. revenue. On our balance sheet, inventory grew 32% quarter over quarter, while supply commitments increased 63% sequentially. We are preparing for significant growth ahead and feel good about our ability to execute against our opportunities.
We need to get Jensen on.
Okay,
Nice,
let me
nicely
turn
done,
to the
Andy.
outlook
I didn't
for the
realize you
fourth
did that.
quarter. Total revenue is expected to be $65 billion, plus or minus 2%. At the midpoint, our outlook implies 14% sequential growth, driven by continued momentum in the Blackwell architecture. Consistent with last quarter, we are not assuming any data center compute revenue from China. GAAP and non-GAAP gross margins are expected to be 74.8% and 75%, respectively, plus or minus 50 basis points.
So they think they're going to increase
Looking
margin.
ahead to fiscal year 2027, input costs are on the rise, but we are working to hold gross margins in the mid-70s.
Okay.
GAAP and non-GAAP operating expenses are expected to be approximately $6.7 billion and $5 billion, respectively. GAAP and non-GAAP other income and expenses are expected to be an income of approximately $500
I need
million,
tungsten. Like,
excluding
how hard is it
gains
to
and
make
losses
artillery
from
gun?
non-marketable and publicly held equity securities. GAAP and non-GAAP tax rates are expected to be 17%, plus or minus 1%, excluding any discrete items. At this time, let me turn the call over to Jensen for him to say a few words.
Alice, what is all
There's
this
been a lot
stuff?
of talk about an AI bubble. From our vantage point, we see something very different. As a reminder, NVIDIA is unlike any other accelerator. We excel at every phase of AI, from pre-training and post-training to inference.
Oh,
And
Jensen.
with our 2-decade investment in CUDA-X acceleration libraries, we are also exceptional at science and engineering simulations, computer graphics, structured data processing, to classical machine learning. The world is undergoing 3 massive platform shifts at once. The first time since the dawn of Moore's Law. NVIDIA is uniquely addressing each of the 3 transformations. The first transition is from CPU general purpose computing to GPU accelerated computing, as Moore's Law slows. The world has a massive investment in non-AI software, from data processing to science and engineering simulations, representing hundreds of billions of dollars in cloud computing spend each year. Many of these applications, which ran once exclusively on CPUs, are now rapidly shifting to CUDA GPUs. Accelerated computing has reached a tipping point. Secondly, AI has also reached a tipping point and is transforming existing applications while enabling entirely new ones. For existing applications, generative AI is replacing classical machine learning in search ranking, recommender systems, ad targeting, click-through prediction to content moderation, the very foundations of hyperscale infrastructure. Meta's GEM, a foundation model for ad recommendations trained on large-scale GPU clusters, exemplifies this shift. In Q2, Meta reported over a 5% increase in ad conversions on Instagram and 3% gain on Facebook feed, driven by generative AI-based GEM.
This is going in.
Transitioning to generative AI represents substantial revenue gains for hyperscalers. Now a new wave is rising. Agentic AI systems, capable of reasoning, planning, and using tools. From coding assistants like Cursor and Claude Code to radiology tools like iDoc, legal assistants like Harvey, and AI chauffeurs like Tesla FSD and Waymo. These systems
They kill people.
mark the next frontier of computing. The fastest growing companies in the world today, OpenAI, Anthropic, xAI, Google, Cursor, Lovable, Replit, Cognition AI, OpenEvidence, Abridge, Tesla, are pioneering agentic AI. So there are three massive platform shifts. The transition to accelerated computing is foundational and necessary, essential in a post-Moore's Law era. The transition to generative AI is transformational and necessary, supercharging existing applications and business models. And the transition to agentic and physical AI will be revolutionary, giving rise to new applications, companies, products, and services. As you consider infrastructure investments, consider these three fundamental dynamics. Each will contribute to infrastructure growth in the coming years. NVIDIA is chosen because our singular architecture enables all three transitions. And thus so, for any form and modality of AI, across all industries, across every phase of AI, across all of the diverse computing needs in a cloud, and also from cloud to enterprise to robots. One architecture. Toshiya, back to you.
We will now open the call for questions. Operator, would you please poll for questions?
Thank you. At this time, I would like to remind everyone, in order to ask a question, press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. We'll pause for just a moment to compile the Q&A roster. As a reminder, please limit yourself to one question. Thank you.
Wow, they won't even allow a follow-up.
Your first question comes from Joseph Moore with Morgan Stanley. Your line is open.
What did I do here?
Great, thank you. I wonder if you could update us. You talked about the $500 billion of revenue for Blackwell plus Rubin in 25 and 26 at GTC. At that time, you had talked about 150 billion of that already having been shipped. So as the quarter's wrapped up, are those still kind of the general parameters that there's 350 billion in the next kind of 14 months or so? And I would assume over that time you haven't seen all the demand that there is. There's any possibility of upside to those numbers as we move forward?
Yeah, thanks, Joe. I'll
What a
start
probe
first,
question.
with a response here on that. Yes, that's correct. We are working into our 500 billion forecast, and we are on track for that as we have finished some of the quarters, and now we have several quarters now in front of us to take us through the end of calendar year 26. The number will grow, and we will achieve, I'm sure, additional needs for compute that will be shippable by fiscal year 26. So we shipped 50 billion this quarter, but we would be not finished if we didn't say that we'll probably be taking more orders. For example, just even today, our announcements with KSA, and that agreement in itself is 400 to 600,000 more GPUs over 3 years. Anthropic is also net new. So there's definitely an opportunity for us to have more on top of the 500 billion that we announced.
The next question comes from CJ Muse with Cantor Fitzgerald. Your line is open.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you for taking the question. There's clearly a great deal of consternation around the magnitude of AI infrastructure build-outs and the ability to fund such plans and the ROI. Yet, at the same time, you're talking about being sold out. Every stood-up GP is taken. The AI world hasn't seen the enormous benefit yet, from B300, never mind Rubin. And Gemini 3 just announced Grok 5 coming soon. And so the question is this: when you look at that as the backdrop, do you see a realistic path for supply to catch up with demand over the next 12 to 18 months, or do you think it can extend beyond that time frame?
Well, as you know, we've done a really good job planning our supply chain. NVIDIA's supply chain basically includes every technology company in the world. And TSMC and their packaging and our memory vendors and memory partners and all of our system ODMs have done a really good job planning with us. And we were planning for a big year. We've seen for some time the three transitions that I spoke about just a second ago: accelerated computing from general purpose computing. And it's really important to recognize that AI is not just agentic AI, but generative AI is transforming.
I really just
the
need to
way
get a
that
ton of
hyperscalers did the work that they used to do on CPUs. Generative AI made it possible for them to move search and recommender systems and add recommendations and targeting.
NetHack has more depth than PCSS has.
Moved to generative AI, and it's still transitioning. And so whether you installed NVIDIA GPUs for data processing,
There's just a lot more going on.
or you did it for generative AI for your recommender system, or you're building it.
But the
for
game's more on rails, I feel.
chatbots and the type of AIs that most people see when they think about AI. All of those applications are accelerated by NVIDIA. And so when you look at the totality of the spend, it's really important to think about each one of those layers. They're all growing. They're related, but not the same. But the wonderful thing is that they all run on NVIDIA GPUs. Simultaneously, because the quality of the AI models are improving so incredibly, the adoption of it.
Are they
in different
improving?
Use cases, whether it's in code assistance, which NVIDIA uses fairly exhaustively, and we're not the only one.
Oh
The
no.
fastest growing application in history.
Means everything's gonna blow up one
Combination of
day.
Cursor and Claude Code and OpenAI's Codex and GitHub Copilot. These applications are the fastest growing in history. And it's not just used for software engineers. It's used because of vibe coding, it's used by engineers and marketeers all over companies, supply chain planners all over companies. And so I think that that's just one example, and the list goes on, whether it's open evidence and the work that they do in healthcare, or the work that's being done in digital video editing, Runway. And I mean, the number of really, really exciting startups that are taking advantage of generative AI and agentic AI is growing quite rapidly. And not to mention, we're all using it a lot more. And so all of these exponential.
So I'm listening to this.
Not to mention, just today I was reading a text from Demis, and he was saying that pre-training and post-training are fully intact. And Gemini 3 takes advantage of the scaling laws and received a huge jump in quality performance, model performance. And so we're seeing all of these exponentials kind of running at the same time. And just always go back to first principles and think about what's happening from each one of the dynamics that I mentioned before. General purpose computing to accelerated computing, generative AI replacing classical machine learning, and of course, agentic AI, which is a brand new category.
The next question comes from Vivek Arya with Bank of America Securities. Your line is open.
Thanks for taking my question. I'm curious, what assumptions are you making on NVIDIA content per gigawatt in
No one's asked that
500
question.
billion number? Because we have heard numbers as low
On
as
any of the
25
prior
billion
calls.
per gigawatt of content to as high as 30 or 40 billion per gigawatt. So I'm curious what power and what dollar per gigawatt assumptions you are making as part of that 500 billion number. And then longer term, Jensen, the 3 to 4 trillion in data center by 2030 was mentioned. How much of that do you think will require vendor financing, and how much of that can be supported by cash flows of your large customers or governments or enterprises? Thank you.
In each generation, from Ampere to Hopper, from Hopper to Blackwell, Blackwell to Rubin, our part of the data center increases, and Hopper generation was probably something along the lines of 20 some odd, 20 to 25. Blackwell generation, Grace Blackwell particularly, is probably 30 to 30, say 30 plus or minus. And then Rubin is probably higher than that. And in each one of these generations, the speed up is X factors. And therefore their TCO, the customer TCO, improves by X factors. And the most important thing is, in the end, you still only have 1 gigawatt of power. 1 gigawatt data centers, 1 gigawatt of power. And therefore, performance per watt, the efficiency of your architecture, is incredibly important. And the efficiency of your architecture can't be brute forced. There is no brute forcing about it. That 1 gigawatt translates directly, your performance per watt translates directly, absolutely directly, to your revenues, which is the reason why choosing the right architecture matters so much now. The world doesn't have an excess of anything to squander. And so we have to be really, really, we use this concept called co-design across our entire stack, across the frameworks and models, across the entire data center, even power and cooling optimized across the entire supply chain in our ecosystem. And so each generation, our economic contribution will be greater, our value delivered will be greater, but the most important thing is our energy efficiency per watt is going to be extraordinary every single generation. With respect to growing continuing to grow, our customers financing is up to them. We see the opportunity to grow for quite some time. And remember, today, most of the focus has been on the hyperscalers. And one of the areas that is really misunderstood about the hyperscalers is that the investment on NVIDIA GPUs not only improves their scale, speed, and cost from general purpose computing. That's number one, because Moore's law scaling has really slowed. Moore's law is about driving costs down. It's about deflationary cost, the incredible deflationary cost of computing over time, but that has slowed. Therefore, a new approach is necessary for them to keep driving the cost down. Going to NVIDIA GPU computing is really the best way to do so. The second is revenue boosting in their current business models. Recommender systems drive the world's hyperscalers. Every single, whether it's watching short form videos, or recommending books, or recommending the next item in your basket, to recommending ads, to recommending news, it's all about recommenders. The internet has trillions of pieces of content. How could they possibly figure out what to put in front of you in your little tiny screen unless they have really sophisticated recommender systems to do so?
Wait,
well,
what?
That has gone generative AI. So the first two things that I just said, hundreds of billions of dollars of CapEx is going to have to be invested, is fully cash flow funded. What is above it, therefore, is agentic AI. This is revenue, is net new consumption, but it's also net new applications. And some of the applications I mentioned before, but these new applications are also the fastest growing applications in history. Okay, so I think that
What?
you're going to see that once people start to appreciate what is actually happening under the water, if you will, from the simplistic view of what's happening to CapEx investment, recognizing there's these three dynamics. And then lastly, remember, we were just talking about the American CSPs. Each country will fund their own infrastructure. And you have multiple countries, you have multiple industries. Most of the world's industries haven't really engaged agentic AI yet, and they're about to. You know, all the names of companies that
This
you
sounds
might
like
be
a
working
Tesla
with,
call.
you know, whether it's autonomous vehicle companies
Oh.
or digital twins for physical AI for factories, and the number of factories and warehouses being built around the world, just the number of digital biology startups that are being funded so that we could accelerate drug discovery. All of those different industries are now getting engaged, and they're going to do their own fundraising. And so don't just look at the hyperscalers as a way to build out for the future. You got to look at the world. You got to look at all the different industries, and you know, enterprise computing is going to fund their own industry.
The next question comes from Ben Reitzes with Melius. Your line is open.
Hey, thanks a lot. Jensen, I wanted to ask you about cash. You know, speaking of $500 billion, you may generate about $500 billion in free cash flow over the next couple of years. What are your plans for that cash? How much goes to buyback versus investing in the ecosystem? And how do you look at investing in the ecosystem? I think there's just a lot of confusion out there about how these deals work and your criteria for doing those, like the Anthropic, the OpenAIs, et cetera. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, appreciate the question. Of course, using cash to fund our growth. No company has ever grown at the scale that we're talking about and have the connection and the depth and the breadth of supply chain that NVIDIA has.
Everything that I need there.
The reason why
Let's just make those there.
entire customer base can rely on us is because we've secured a really, resilient supply chain, and we have the balance sheet to support them. When we make purchases, our suppliers can take it to the bank. When we make forecasts and we plan with them, they take us seriously because of our balance sheet. We're not making up the offtake. We know what our offtake is, and because they've been planning with us for so many years, our reputation and our credibility is incredible. And so it takes really strong balance sheet to do that, to support the level of growth and the rate of growth and the magnitude associated with that. So that's number one. The second thing, of course, we're going to continue to do stock buybacks. We're going to continue to do that. But with respect to the investments, this is really, really important work that we do. All of the investments that we've done so far, or all the period, is associated with expanding the reach of CUDA, expanding the ecosystem. If you look at the work the investments that we did with OpenAI, it's, of course, that relationship we've had since 2016. I delivered the first AI supercomputer ever made to OpenAI. And so we've had a close and wonderful relationship with OpenAI since then. And everything that OpenAI does runs on NVIDIA today. So all the clouds that they deploy in, whether it's training and inference, runs NVIDIA, and we love working with them. The partnership that we have with them is one so that we could work even deeper from a technical perspective, so that we could support their accelerated growth. This is a company that's growing incredibly fast. And don't just look at what is said in the press. Look at all the ecosystem partners and all the developers that are connected to OpenAI. And they're all driving consumption. And the quality of the AI that's being produced, huge step up since a year ago. And so the quality of response is extraordinary. So we invest in OpenAI for deep partnership to expand our ecosystem and support their growth. And of course, rather than giving up a share of our company, we get a share of their company. And we invested in them in one of the most consequential, once-in-a-generation company that we have a share of. So I fully expect that investment to translate to extraordinary returns. Now,
You might as well just make a whole box of it.
This is the first time that Anthropic will be on NVIDIA's architecture. The first time Anthropic will be on NVIDIA's architecture is
What else needs you?
the second most successful AI in the world. in terms of total number of users, but in enterprise, they're doing incredibly well. Claude Code is doing incredibly well. Claude is doing incredibly well all over the world's enterprise. And now we have the opportunity to have a deep partnership with them and bringing Claude onto the NVIDIA platform. And so what do we have now? NVIDIA's architecture, taking a step back, NVIDIA's architecture, NVIDIA's platform is the singular platform in the world that runs every we run Anthropic, we run XAI, our deep partnership with Elon and XAI. We were able to bring that opportunity to Saudi Arabia, to the KSA, so that Humane could also be a hosting opportunity for XAI. We run XAI, we run Gemini, we run thinking machines.
Do not have electric engine here.
We run them all. And so, not to mention, we run the science models, the biology models, DNA models, gene models, chemical models, and all the different fields around the world. It's not just cognitive AI that the world uses. AI is impacting every single industry. And so we have the ability, through the ecosystem investments that we make, to deeply partner on a technical basis with some of the best companies, the most brilliant companies in the world. We're expanding the reach of our ecosystem, and we're getting a share and investment in what will be a very successful company.
Can I just like cheat and just tell this to send electric engines too?
That's our investment thesis.
The next question comes from Jim Schneider with Goldman Sachs. Your line is open.
Good afternoon. Thanks for taking my question. In the past, you've talked about roughly 40% of your shipments tied to AI inference. I'm wondering, as you look forward into next year, where do you expect that percentage could go in say, a year's time? And can you maybe address the Rubin CPX product you expect to introduce next year and contextualize that? How big of the overall TAM you expect that can take, and maybe talk about some of the
no
customer
supply
applications for that
of
specific
electric
product?
engine.
Thank you.
CPX is designed
What does
for
that mean?
long context type of workload generation. And so long context, basically, before you start generating answers, you have to read a lot.
Can I see what's available on network?
Context. And it could be a bunch of PDFs, it could be watching a bunch of videos, studying 3D images, so on and so forth. You have to absorb the context. And so CPX is designed for long context type of workloads. And it's perf per dollar, it's perf per dollar exit, it's perf per watt exit.
I know where the engines are made down here.
Which made me forget the first part of the question.
Inferencing.
Oh, inference. Yeah, there are three scaling laws that are,
I don't think we're making
scaling
it
at the same time. The first scaling law, called pre-training, continues to be very effective.
So let's make some engine.
The second is post-training. Post-training basically has found incredible algorithms.
Now, considering that this is something that we recently built,
AI's ability to break a problem down and solve a problem step by step. And post-training is scaling exponentially. Basically, the more compute you apply to a model, the smarter it is, the more intelligent it is. And then the
do
third
I have a
is
blueprint
inference.
for this?
Inference, because of chain of thought, because of reasoning capabilities, AIs are essentially reading, thinking before it answers. And the amount of computation necessary as a result of those three things has gone completely exponential. I think that it's hard to know exactly what the percentage will be at any given point in time and who, but of course our hope is that inference is a very large part of the market, because if inference is large, then what it suggests is that people are using it in more applications, and they're using it more frequently. And that's, we should all hope for inference to be very large. And this is where Grace Blackwell is just an order of magnitude better, more advanced than anything in the world. The second best platform
we just
is
freeball
H200,
this?
And it's very clear now that GB300, GB200, GB300, because of NVLink 72, the scale-up network that we have, achieve, and you saw, and Colette talked about in the semi-analysis benchmark, it's the largest single inference benchmark ever done. And GB200, NVLink
God, it
72
pumps.
is 10 to 15 times higher performance. And so that's a big step up. It's going to take a long time before somebody is able to take that on. And our leadership there is surely multi-year. And so I think, I'm hoping that inference becomes a very big deal. Our leadership in inference is extraordinary.
The next question comes from Timothy Arcuri with UBS. Your line is open.
Thanks a lot. Jensen, many of your customers are pursuing behind-the-meter power, but like, what's the single biggest bottleneck that worries you that could constrain your growth? Is it power, or maybe it's financing, or maybe it's something else like memory or even foundry? Thanks a lot.
Well, these are all issues, and they're all constraints. And the reason for that, when you're growing at the rate that we are and the scale that we are, how could anything be easy? What NVIDIA is doing obviously has never been done before. And we've created a whole new industry. On the one hand, we are transitioning computing from general purpose and classical or traditional computing to accelerated computing and AI. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, we created a whole new industry called AI factories. The idea that in order for software to run, you need these factories to generate every single token instead of retrieving information that was pre-created. And so I think this whole transition requires extraordinary scale. And all the way from the supply chain, of course, the supply chain, we have much better visibility and control over it because, obviously we're incredibly good at managing our supply chain. We have great partners that we've worked with.
What do I need to set it to?
33 years. And so,
probably just one way.
So the supply chain part of it, we're quite confident. Now, looking down our supply chain, we've now established partnerships with so many players in land and power and shell, and of course financing. These things, none of these things are easy, but they're all tractable and they're all solvable things. And the most important thing that we have to do is do a good job planning. We plan up the supply chain, down the supply chain. We've established a whole lot of partners, and so we have a lot of routes to market. And very importantly, our architecture has to deliver the best value to the customers that we have. And so at this point, I'm very confident that NVIDIA's architecture is the best
not available?
performance per TCO. It is the best performance
what do we have
per watt, and therefore for any amount of energy that is delivered,
50.
Our architecture will drive the most revenues. And I think the increasing rate of our success, I think that we're more successful this year at this point than we were last year at this point.
Okay, I mean, it's there.
Number of customers
so I've done something wrong
the
here.
number of platforms coming to us after they
go back here. I have radar on the other thing. I don't need to run over this.
And so I think I think all of that is just all the things that I've been telling you over the years are really coming true and or becoming evident.
The next question comes from Stacy Rasgon with Bernstein Research. Your line is open.
Questions. Colette, I had some questions on margins. You said for next year you're working to hold them in the mid-70s. So I guess, first of all, what are the biggest cost increases? Is it just memory or is it something else? What are you doing to work toward that? How much is cost optimizations versus pre-buys versus pricing? And then also, how should we think about OpEx growth next year, given the revenues seem likely to grow materially?
I mean, this took a delivery
from where we're running right now.
Thanks, Stacy. Let me see if I can start with remembering where we were with the current fiscal year that we're in. Remember, earlier this year, we indicated that through cost improvements and mix that we would exit the year and
Is
our
it-
gross margins in the
Is it
mid
there's no
70s.
train?
We achieved that and getting ready to also execute that in
Unable to find,
Q4.
so we need more.
So now it's time for us to communicate where are we working right now in terms of next year. Next year, there are input prices that are well known in the industries that we need to work through. And our systems are by no means very easy to work with. There are a tremendous amount of components, many different parts of it as we think about that. So we're taking all
just
of
make a
that into
depot?
account, but we do believe if we look at working again on cost improvements, cycle time, and
I'm gonna
mix,
need
that we will work to try and hold
what do you call
at
it?
our gross margins in the mid
Need more
70s.
rail.
So that's our overall plan for gross margin.
I
Your
go grab
second
more
question
rail.
is around OpEx. And right now, our goal in terms of OpEx is to really make sure that we are innovating with our engineering teams,
Just over
with
here.
all of our business teams, to create more and more systems for this market. As you know, right now we have a new architecture coming out, and that means
just need, like,
they
4,000.
are quite busy
Okay,
in
again?
order to meet that goal. And so we're going to continue to see our investments on innovating more and more, both our software, both our systems, and our hardware to do so. I'll turn it to Jensen if he wants to add any couple more comments.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. I think the only thing that I would add is remember that we plan, we forecast, we plan, and we negotiate with our supply chain well in advance. Our supply chain have known for quite a long time our requirements, and they've known for quite a long time our demand, and we've been working with them and negotiating with them for quite a long time. And so I think the recent surge, obviously quite significant, but remember our supply chain has been working with us for a very long time, and so in many cases we've secured a lot of supply for
Need a place
ourselves
to put this.
because obviously they're working with the largest company in the world in doing so, and we've also been working closely with them on the financial aspects of it and securing forecasts and plans and so on and so forth. So I think all of that has worked out well for us.
Your final question comes from the line of Aaron Rakers with Wells Fargo. Your line is open.
This is the entrance.
Yeah, thanks for taking the question. Jensen, the question's for you. As you think about the Anthropic deal that was announced and just the overall breadth of your customers, I'm curious if your thoughts around the role that AI ASICs or dedicated XPUs play in these architecture build-outs has changed at all. Have you seen, I think you've been fairly adamant in the past that some of these programs never really see deployments, but I'm curious if we're at a point where maybe that's even changed more in favor of just GPU architecture. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, and I really appreciate the question. So first of all, you're not competing against teams. You're against a company. You're competing against teams, and there just aren't that many teams in the world who are extraordinary at building these incredibly complicated things. Back in the Hopper day and the Ampere days, we would build one GPU. That's the definition of an accelerated AI system. But today, we've got to build entire racks, three different types of switches: a scale up, a scale out, and a scale across switch. And it takes a lot more than one chip to build a compute node anymore. Everything about that computing system, because AI needs to have memory. AI didn't used to have memory at all. Now it has to remember things. The amount of memory and context it has is gigantic. The memory architecture implication is incredible. The diversity of models, from mixture of experts to dense models to diffusion models to autoregressive, not to mention, biological models that obeys the laws of physics. The list of different types of models have exploded in the last several years. And so the challenge is the complexity of the problem is much higher. The diversity of AI models is incredibly large. And so this is where, if I will say the 5 things that makes us special, the first thing I would say that makes us special is that we accelerate every phase of that transition. That's the first phase. That CUDA allows us to have CUDA X, for transitioning from general purpose to accelerated computing. We are incredibly good at generative AI. We're incredibly good at agentic AI. So every single phase of that, every single layer of that transition, we are excellent at. You can invest in one architecture, use it across the board. You can use one architecture and not worry about the changes in the workload across those three phases. That's number one. Number two, we're excellent at every phase of AI. Everybody's always known that we're incredibly good at pre-training. We're obviously very good at post-training. And we're incredibly good, as it turns out, at inference, because inference is really, really hard. How could thinking be easy? You know, people think that inference is one shot and therefore it's easy. Anybody could approach the market that way. But it turns out to be the hardest of all, because thinking, as it turns out, is quite hard. We're great at every phase of AI, the second thing. The third thing is, we're now the only architecture in the world that runs every AI model. Every frontier AI model. We run open source AI models incredibly well. We run science models.
I think I would rather have them sit at the depot. I'll put some of these down now that I changed them.
We're the only architecture in the world that can claim that.
Alright, somehow coal needs to happen here.
We run everything. And we run it
Quest for coal has happened.
major platform, as I just mentioned.
You have a train,
We run every model.
not on way.
And then the fourth thing I would say is that we're in every cloud. The reason why developers love us is because we're literally everywhere. We're in every cloud. We're in every, you know, we could even make you a little tiny cloud called
Bring
AGS.
the coal.
And so we're in every computer. We're everywhere, from cloud to on-prem to robotic systems, edge devices, PCs, you name it. One architecture.
It's success if coal shows up.
And then
If coal shows up, we're good. Why is this not
probably the
allowed?
most important thing, the
Oh,
fifth
this can't. What is it?
is if you are a cloud service provider, if you're a new company,
Blue,
like,
so it should have a delivery on the way.
if you're a new company like
Perfect.
CoreWeave
Oh
or
god.
NCO, Nebius,
Oh.
or OCI for that matter.
Well, there's our
The
coal.
reason why NVIDIA is the best platform for you is because our offtake is so diverse. We can help you with
Fluid
offtake.
wagons.
It's not about just putting a random ASIC into a data center. Where's the offtake coming from? Where's the diversity coming from? Where's the resilience coming from?
Steel.
You know, the versatility of the
you know.
architecture coming from, the diversity of the capability coming from. NVIDIA has such incredibly good offtake. The ecosystem is so large. So these five things, every phase of acceleration and transition, every phase of AI, every model,
Where's the
every
steel?
cloud to on-prem, and of course, finally, it all leads to offtake.
Thank you. I will now turn the call to Toshiya Hari for closing remarks.
In closing, please note we will be at the UBS Global Technology and AI Conference on December 2nd, and our earnings call to discuss the results of our fourth quarter of fiscal 2026 is scheduled for February 25th. Thank you for joining us today. Operator, please go ahead and close the call.
Thank you. This concludes today's conference call. You may now disconnect.
Where are these fast belts? Let's see what he's trying to sell. Somewhere I made the fast belt. Is it here? I tried to make everything compact, so I don't remember where anything is anymore. Been well over a year. Yep. Why was it not putting them down? Was it red belt and not... Fast? Oh, well, we don't want fast. Upgrade this. Yeah, let's go. Cole made it here while we were changing changing over, what is this mark? Another stupid belt that I don't care about. Like, not do the upgrade. Great. Verizon just fired like 15,000 people. Bad time. Why is this one not got a light? Oh god, I don't know how to do that. That's way too complicated for my brain right now. Train limit needs to be 2 though. Otherwise we'll never hear the end of this. 2. I don't have enough. This depot's gotta have a limit. 3. 3's cool. 3's okay. I need to be able to make those, so let's get that. And then we'll set up the trains, and hopefully we'll be able to get fluid where we need to, because anything we want to do here is going to be constrained by that. What happened here that's bad? Why is there a full... Excuse me? Oh, that doesn't matter. It's just December green lights, because it doesn't do anything. Hey, can I have a bunch of these? Oh, that's not a bunch. Maybe like, there you go. I know I have them in a box somewhere, that's the real issue. Give me a bunch of these. Put these in my inventory anymore. Why do I have this all in my inventory? Oh, wow, that's so weird. Give me some more green chip. I already have plenty of steel. Okay, we need what now? I ran out of those. Hopefully this is enough. Now what's happening? Gelba? Something was getting hit. Oh, never mind. That was a different alert. Okay. Now, how do we assign locomotives to this? That did not connect. Okay, it did connect. So how do I... Is it because you're already at the station? Do I need to assign you to a depot? Main north. East depot. East train. Network. We'll just call you that. Oh, sure. How do I tell you what to do? Oh, these all get placed? Okay, good. Oh, it looks like they got orders. Or did all of them get the same orders? Oh no, he's gone. Where are we going? Yeah, what are you doing? Oh, it's going. Where are we going? Watch it go to the other depot like an idiot. Oh, because they're all going to Northern Depot. I don't know why I did that. There we go. Okay, it's going to go pick up oil. Okay. This is marked as a depot, correct? Depot. How have I messed this up? I don't know why they're all going to the other depot, being dumb. I don't know, it's flagged as a depot. But they're all queuing at the other place. Is it because these are just messed up? What if I did this? Yeah, it's because I didn't reassign these. I know what the problem is. Alright, problem solved. So when they were attached and they were pasted, it thought they were all the same station. So I just added two or three locomotives to that. We'll be okay. If there's a backup of stuff that happens, no, that'll be bad. Basically, it'll be good. But this is what we're going to do. We're just going to start without locomotives. And we're going to make sure... I should just call this one the Fluid Depot, right? But I don't think things are going to queue so bad that this will ever become a problem. And just for good measure, we'll add another. I should just make them all fluid. But there's so much capacity here, this doesn't seem very likely that they're all just gonna... Okay, so this whole thing about no trains... Oh, well, no one needs me anymore. No one needs it anymore. My problem solved. Oh no.
Like one, when you pick up the Amulet of Yendor, you just get a wish. Which is kind of funny, because like, what are you gonna wish for when you're... If you've gotten all the way there...
I didn't realize that Eat is now in Yogi's chat.
Oh no, yeah. I guess there could be one thing you could wish for there. Like the Helm of Opposite Alignment would be good. Ukulele.
The Williams Sonoma CEO. Of course I'm optimistic. How could it get worse? Oh man, that I need that recorded and put on something. Did we see Target earnings this morning?
Worst outcome. So I don't want to bust it now. Next is...
If housing picks up. How? Williams Sonoma was not on my radar. Okay, we need to get electric engine. Unknown delivery at Northern? Yeah, I mean, I guess show me what's going on here, because this doesn't seem right. Unknown delivery.
Healing? This is like a double...
Name correctly, right?
Two things here. We're getting more max
I don't see anything immediately wrong. It's got an indicator. I got 7k coal there. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm guessing maybe the game lost track of one of the trains. I'll worry about it if I start seeing more of them. Yeah, so there's no electric engine available on...
Smoky and Milky.
No. You just need 50 bots. I don't really need that many.
Chance of summoning a monster upon quaking. The Smoky may summon a genie. The Milky may summon a ghost.
What even needs to be here to make electric engine? I'm assuming engine?
Quaffing the Smoky Potion has
Engine, green chip.
2N.
I guess that's the next question. Is engine available on the network? That's sort of how this all goes. Is eventually it turns into what is not, what doesn't have network.
At the same odds.
That's the real trick.
So like 80% wish if you get the 1 in 13.
So now we're going to set up a stop that does all dry goods basically.
More than 0.
Double.
If it fails, you get max health.
I need engine. And if I don't have engine, I have to make engine here.
Put on the towel.
We'll see if engine's available, because it may not be.
Wait, it still got me.
One is probably fine. Not connected.
Any Smoky, it doesn't matter what kind of potion it is. It's the random identifier of Smoky.
And green chip.
So you should bless them and drink them for more wish chance. Yeah, let's put more stuff in the bag. Boom. Boom. Water can go in. Also, if you don't want to pray the water, you can just dip a stack of water into a holy water, and the whole stack will become holy water. All right, next up, we're gonna mess around with self poly.
I don't have any fighter chests. I'm gonna need those too.
Very interested in what it's about to do.
Red ship.
Holy water, if you don't want to pray your holy water, like you don't want to use your pray, you can just have a holy water, dip a stack of regular water into the holy water, and the entire stack becomes holy water. So you don't have to blow your pray. Well, like if you're off in the middle of nowhere, not near an altar, you can just make more. It will consume the one, but then the
Remember the
stack
time we had lights built?
You're minus one.
Just talking to Heat for a second. Where are these boxes? You guys a scam artist. Sell this, buy that. He has a new ad. He must be finding suckers. Where are the chests? All I'm looking for is the stupid chests. I had a whole thing that made... And I guess give me more robots, I guess. Yeah. Somewhere here I have a thing that's just give me boxes of stuff. I thought they were right here. When they were boxes of boxes. The box of a box. I've gotta be close, right? Remember it kind of came back off the trough, so to speak, because I didn't have a lot of space for all this. Turrets. Ship is close. Ice inserters. I did not do a good job of setting up my mall. Where is it? Or did I like make the boxes and then it was like, oh, just you can just make them down here. But I don't see purple chest. Whoa, why is there nothing here? What happened here? Oh no, oh no, we're low on the iron plate. A lot of this was slowed down though, so I should preface with that. A lot of these started running out of stuff. I got boxes now, let's do this. But now we also need to make engines. Just so I can see the number at a glance. Alright, so in order to make engine, what do I need? Steel, iron, gear, and pipe. I guess the real question is why don't I just pull iron and steel? I don't need the other ones. That was already true, though. It's not new. Cool. Trains on the way. Uh-oh, what's wrong here? Oh, this clock signals are good. Is there no... Oh. Gotcha. Gotcha. You know, so now there's, so if trains want to turn around, they can do it on the far end. Brilliant. Brilliant. I wonder how long it's going to take to get these trains here. Meanwhile, how do we do this? We need this to make engines. So in order to make engine, I need gear wheels, I need steel, which is coming, I need pipe. So I need pipe. Piping. Here comes the next train. So the only issue here is that this guy's waiting for a clearance, right? Not that it's going to be very hard for him to get clearance, but he needs a clearance in order to get to somewhere. I guess that's a dumb question here. How does... So if this train wishes to leave, right? How does it go to depot? I guess it could just go to depot right there. What I really should be doing, though, is queuing these at the front of these stations so that the train looking to exit is a future consideration. I don't think it's going to be an issue right now. Engine part. Takes 10 seconds to go. I need 2 pipes to 1 gear. I mean, is it bad if these cross? I don't think so. This very moment, I'm not going to worry about it. Oh, we can get nutrients from fish now. That's interesting. I see a reason for this just not to be compact. That's fine. Here, I guess the question is how long is it taking to make an engine? 12 seconds. So, like, basically as many of these as I dare. Prior failure. Is it something like this that gets me what I want? I think that works. I think it would have to be something like this. Okay, well that gets that going. I don't really have many efficiency chips on me, do I? Got some productivity in there. So, 0.9 a second, that's not a very big number. Can we just start doubling things? There's so much junk in this box. mean, if we're going to supply engine, right? What's a full thing of engines? 1,000? 500? Here's a pack of engine. This thing over here wants engines too, right? Like, I don't actually have to have engine delivery on this one if... I'll worry about it if it's an issue, right? At the moment, it's got a queue. We need more engines. One. We need one. I don't see a reason to not do it like this. Seems legit enough to work. We're in the automate everything portion of the show. So what I want to see is if this is enough, right? Well, I mean, each of these is requiring a quarter. It's almost like these. 5.5 a second. I think we're okay. Even on power anyways, we got plenty of power. Engines. I really slowed down the production speed of this. What even is it? .09 a second times what I made 4, 8, 12, 24 of them. So 24. So I make like it would take like a half an hour to get the amount of. I don't want to beacon this. And I also kind of did dumb. Number needs to be higher. We just need more robots here. Oh, we're out of iron. Problem is we don't have any iron. That's the problem. How many do we have now? 200. I mean, it's not like I need... But I can always build more capacity here, but this will be enough to get us going, right? If these are on the same network, why would it not pull... Because they're provider chests, not requester chests. You know, a train would actually have to come here and move these engines to this spot, which I'm not really opposed to that, because all it's going to do is and just literally just go around in a circle, grab them, and then put them around. Where are these going? Oh, they're gonna go recharge. 84 trains currently running. This isn't very fast. But every single one of these is running, so at least there's that. Surplus gears and pipe. How is there? Oh, because there's 2 pots in there. Eventually these will fill. Let's see what's going on with Yogi here. There's so much to just do.